But have you guys seen Mad Men, or at least know the show exists? Do you know what it's about? Most of you, please say yes. Yes. Okay, good. Because I don't watch TV, but I know what Mad Men is. I know what it's about. Okay, Mad Men is about the ad executives in New York, like in the 50s, 60s, and they're like the alpha males of New York. So they get all the girls. They drink whiskey and bourbon, scotch all day, and they chain smoke, and they wear really fine pressed suits and polished shoes, and they rule that area, that urban jungle or whatever you want to call it. They are the alpha males of that environment, of the city, and because they do crazy, ridiculous things and constantly get away with them, and come out on the main character comes out on anyway. So that's what these images, or that's what these smells are. That combination of the of smells is supposed to conjure up. Like, and when I say alpha male, I mean like especially like in the West, in America, like the classic American hero or alpha male outside of the city is the cowboy, right? I mean, for the most part, like John Wayne. Well, in the city, that's kind of who like in Mad Men, those guys are like the cowboys of the city, and the father is one of those guys. He's the alpha male. And again, those smells that he attributes there, they're not really attractive, I guess, or pleasant. And that's why he says, and he changes the language. I mean, he writes very smoothly. He writes very well. At the end of the sentence, he says, "and the rankness of a mature male." Does that sound appealing? No, that sounds animalistic, right? Isn't that how a lot of? I mean, it sounds like, watch the Discovery Channel, and they're talking about the leader of a group of silverback gorillas, right? Like the rankness of a mature male, right? The alpha male, and that's the idea. Not that those smells are pleasant, but it's that combination that makes him like all that is man, And he's a big, strapping, handsome guy, and he's just the man. And that's how the son sees him. And again, this classic kind of setup and relationship between father and son, where you have the father here, the way that the son sees the father, here he's seeing, as a boy sees his father, right? The father can be a complete loser, but if you're a boy and you don't know anything, you still see your father as the end-all, be-all. And that's the tragedy of this, is because ultimately the father didn't have to do anything but show up and have a sandwich with him, and talk, and it would have made, an impression, right? It would have made all the difference in the world. And again, the father has all the characteristics. We see this all throughout literature, all through movies, and in real life. Like the big, handsome, strong father figure, who's obviously charming or has presence, but ultimately his actions make him a loser, right? He has all the attributes to be the ideal father, be the ideal man. But he falls short through his actions and his own insecurities. So there's that. And when they go to the restaurant, and he starts speaking another language. Why? Yeah, he's gonna impress him. He's gonna try to impress him. He does go off about being in England later on. That's just because he's trashed. But here, he's trying to speak another language to impress the son, and the waiter doesn't really call him out on the language, but he treats the waiter, subserviently, right? He's like, the waiter. He's clapping his hands, and he orders two. What does he order? Beef Eater Gibsons. Remember, Beef Eater Gibsons. Okay, so the waiter says, "I don't like to be clapped at." Then he's like, "Oh, then perhaps I should have, used my whistle. I would like 2 Beef Eater Gibsons." And he goes, "Now, get out your little pen and paper and write this down. 2 Beef Eater Gibsons. Repeat after me." So the waiter asks him to leave. First of all, it would be embarrassing for your father to be that much of an ass to a waiter in front of you, I would imagine, in the first place. Second of all, to get kicked out would make it even worse. And it just makes the father one-up himself, right? It just escalates his father's own insecurities and behavior, because at the next restaurant, he becomes worse. What does he order? Well, yeah, so he goes again somewhere else, and we're gonna order for the boy. The waiter wants to know how old the boy is. The father freaks out, leaves. The next place they go to, he ordered. What does he order? No, he doesn't. He says Bibson Beefeaters instead of Beefeater Gibsons or whatever they're called. Yeah, Beefeater Gibsons. He's drunk now, right? I mean, if he's mixing Gibson Beefeaters, yeah, he's obviously drunk, slurring his words, and the waiter is mocking him. So, and this is like, again, this is just getting worse and worse and worse for the boy, because we see in the second restaurant, the boy gets dragged into it. His father's trying to buy him drinks, and the waiter wants to know how old he is, and then he freaks out and leaves. Third one, the waiter, I mean, it's funny, right? Because the waiter is openly mocking the drunk father in front of the boy. And it's funny for the waiter, right? And it's funny, kind of funny for us, but for the boy, it's got to suck. And then he goes off about, you know, things have changed in jolly old England. And the waiter's like, we're not in England, and you know, I know. I just thought you might like to know where you are. The waiter said, and so freaks out again. Italian leaves. After they leave the last restaurant, the dad's gonna fight the guy at the newspaper stand. He goes to buy a newspaper, but he insults the guy in trying to purchase a newspaper, right? Like saying, "I would like one of your piece of crap newspapers, please." And the boy here, he says, "I have to catch my train." And then the father says, I'm sorry. I'll walk you back to the station. Again, it comes up if there'd only been time to go back to my club. But, you know, it's not enough time because you don't have time, right? Pushing it off on the boy indirectly, passively. And as soon as that happens, we see a shift in language. And again, it's not a coincidence, and he does it 3 times, and this is the very last part of the paper. Says, "That's all right, Daddy," I said. And then skip down a few more paragraphs. "I have to go, Daddy, it's late," and "Goodbye, Daddy," I said. I don't know many grown men that call their fathers Daddy, right? I mean, that's something that a little boy says to the father. And he's obviously not a little boy here, right? I mean, he's a young man on the edge of becoming a man. And the idea is that Cheever is using this language, having the boy say Daddy, because this is the moment that he loses his boyhood and he does become a man and he leaves his father. And that is that in that last moment he is reverting back. He is explicitly stating, you know, or saying that through the son's language, you know, I am a boy. And when he says goodbye, Daddy, right? That's the idea. He's a boy no longer. He leaves his father and he goes to become a man. Now, you know, again, ideally, every son leaves the father and becomes a man and has to, right? But it's the idea that you leave the father to become your own man. And again, with a good father, right, that's kind of what happens. With a bad father, you leave the father to become just like him. So he became a man. He never saw his father again. But ultimately, he's the same thing, or he's a lot like him. Now, the boy, again, another very specific image, image. The boy could have caught, again, story was written in 1962. The boy could have had to go catch a taxi, could have had to catch a bus, a airplane, a horse-drawn carriage, whatever. Why a train? 1962, what did little boys play with? Yeah. I mean, that's like the classic, again, the classic American young little boy playing with trains in 1962. I mean, 2011, I know it's like PS3 and stuff, but at this time, it's trains. And so again, he's going and catching that train, the connection with his childhood, with being a young boy, and saying goodbye to all of that.